Hi, my name is Hayden Smith. I'm Senior Engineer for U.S. Public Sector here at Anchore. I also have experience working as a third-party assessor, doing FedRAMP pen testing, and also doing security control assessments to assess risks of commercial organizations who are working with FedRAMP PMO, and also with the federal government to achieve a FedRAMP ATO. Today, we're going to be looking at what Anchore can do from a container security and compliance perspective to apply FedRAMP specific checks that directly map back to the FedRAMP NIST 853 subcontrol set. So, taking a look at what we're doing here, Anchore has ingested this image from my GitLab repo and it's provided a compliance result. I've uploaded and used the Anchore FedRAMP checks, which is a scanning policy that gets enforced to all of my images to make sure that they comply with the requirements that FedRAMP has put forth for containers. So here we can go inside our image and see which security controls we are failing. So you can see off the top we're seeing a lot of failures for AC610. You're seeing failures for CM7, CM71B, IA52, and this is a lot different than what other scanners out there provide, because other scanners will tell you, hey, you have a CVE finding, or hey, you may have a compliance finding against NIST 800-190. And what I've seen, bringing my experience as a third-party assessor, going in and working with companies that are in the process of a FedRAMP authorization, is that they want to know, hey, what NIST 853 control do you guys check for? Because that's what my assessor is asking about, and I want an artifact to help speed up this process so I don't have to go through my deployment and look and apply for specific checks. I just want it to spit everything back out that I can then provide to my third-party assessment organization or 3PAO. So this is exactly what this policy bundle is going to provide. So we've automated all these checks for you. So if we look at, let's say, AC610, we'll go to our moderate control baseline set. You can actually see here it's checking for least privilege. So when we thought of least privilege, we're trying to make sure that non-privileged users cannot execute privileged functions within the container. So what do we have to check for within the container to make that so? We have to make sure that certain user permissions are not being set on certain files, which is what we're seeing here. For CM71B, for example, let's do another one just real quick. Scroll down, we're going to be looking at our configuration management right here. So if we look at CM71B, it's going to be talking about disabling certain ports, protocols, and services that aren't essential for this application to run. And that's exactly what we're applying just at the container level, right? So we're going to be checking to make sure that only our allowed ports, protocols, and services are allowed to be open and run on these containers, which is what we're checking for. And we see that there's a violation with this container here with CM71B. And we allow you to provide your feedback to the developer, so we can easily add this to our Anchore workbench and say, hey, developer, you need to go back and address this finding in our Docker file in order to remain compliant with FedRAMP. You're also seeing RA5 failures is related to vulnerability scanning, but it's not just this, right? So we've actually built out a full policy. So for example, we have all of our checks listed here. If we dive in here to IA57, this is dealing with unauthorized disclosure of secrets, right? So we're really trying to make sure that we're checking for unauthorized disclosure of secrets, passwords, things like that that could have been left either intentionally or unintentionally by developers. It's not only the UI where this is available. This is available, entirely in the Anchore API as well. So you could query the API to either download this report as JSON or CSV, and it will actually tell you what, in CSV format, hey, you're failing these controls for these reasons. But also, when we talk about achieving DevSecOps, we can look at, what, and looking at the API, we could look at, hey, how does my developer find out that they're failing these specific controls and that they need to make these specific changes so that we can, not fail those controls. So we provide that, over our API, and it integrates really nicely with CI jobs. So this is using Git CI. So this is telling my developer, hey, we're failing this, RA5. It's finding this vulnerability related to this package. We're also failing SC5 because we don't have a health check in place. A lot of good stuff here. So this is what we provide from a FedRAMP perspective in terms of our FedRAMP policy bundle. And it provides that automation that a lot of customers and 3PAOs are looking for when they show up and they're working with someone heavily involved in container workloads and DevOps and looking for an awesome tool that can go ahead and spit out the relevant artifacts that are needed to achieve a FedRAMP ATO and also to achieve continuous security and compliance. And that tool is with Anchore. If you're interested for a follow-up conversation or you want to go into a deeper dive, please reach out to us for a consultation. Thank you.